And in case you wondered just how close Julius Jones was to his execution, the 41-year-old convicted of murder already had his final meal. According to the Department of Corrections, Jones requested fried chicken, French fries, and pizza. But just hours before he was set to die, the governor of Oklahoma intervened. And for more than 20 years, Jones has insisted he is innocent, saying that he was framed for killing businessman Paul Howell in front of Howell's sister and two young daughters in 1999. The family of Paul Howell says there is no doubt Jones pulled the trigger. Tonight, we have reaction from both sides on this case. You'll hear from Jones' longtime friend as well as an advocate for the Howell family. And as so many of us now ask, what is next? Correspondent Marky Martin is live in Oklahoma City tonight to begin our coverage. Marky, you were there when the governor made that announcement today.
We were, Marnie. Good evening. It was an explosive day inside the state capitol as that news came down this afternoon, with less than 4 hours to spare before Julius Jones was set to be executed. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt intervened and spared his life. This was the moment inside the state capitol rotunda when hundreds of Julius Jones supporters learned the death row inmate's life had been saved.
If you've ever been in a car with a lot of bass and a lot of treble and you feel every instrument, it's kind of like being in that situation.
And when Jones' sister, Antoinette, learned her brother would live.
What are you feeling right now?
Peaceful. Just been thanking God continuously without ceasing. This is all due to God. Yes, it is. God said he shall live and not die.
Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt releasing his final decision shortly after noon, saying after prayerful consideration, he'd made his choice. Life without the possibility of parole.
That is really what we needed in Oklahoma City because it makes no sense.
The case dates back to 1999. Jones was convicted of shooting and killing businessman Paul Howell in his driveway in front of Howell's two daughters after they'd returned home from an ice cream date. Howell's sister, the lone adult eyewitness to the murder. She testified it was Jones who pulled the trigger.
If he gets out, he isn't innocent. He isn't a good person. He is a murderer, a liar, a thief, a sociopath, a gang member. It just keeps going on, and he will do this again.
Prosecutors say the evidence against him is overwhelming. Investigators found the murder weapon wrapped in a bandana with Jones' DNA in the attic space above his bedroom. But critics of the case say Jones didn't receive a fair trial, arguing one juror showed racial prejudice, that Jones didn't match the suspect description, and that a co-defendant who spent 15 years in prison for the crime admitted to framing Jones. For decades, Jones has maintained his innocence and that he was framed.
I know exactly where Julius Jones was the night of the crime.
Jimmy Lawson has been best friends with Jones since 6th grade. We spoke to him ahead of the announcement.
The ball game is never over until it gets down to 0. So I'm putting my faith over fear that Stitt comes through like the basketball game at the last minute with a winning basket and saves my best friend's life.
And in the 11th hour, Governor Stitt commuted Jones' sentence, taking the advice of the Oklahoma Pardon and Parole Board that recommended clemency.
There are going to be people who feel differently about this result, but, nothing changes today. Julius will still be in a maximum security prison, but he'll be alive.
The Howell family releasing a statement Thursday afternoon saying, "We know Governor Stitt had a difficult decision to make. We take comfort that his decision affirmed the guilt of Julius Jones and that he shall not be eligible to apply for or be considered for a commutation, pardon, or parole for the remainder of his life." The Jones family considering today a victory, but say they won't stop here.
Can't wait to hear his voice. Thank you, God, for life,
And Governor Stitt, in his announcement today, again, just to reiterates that he made this decision based on the condition that Julius Jones is never eligible again for commutation, pardon, or even parole. Marnie.
Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.